Do you guys remember who Yeat is? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, if I'm talking about hype in terms of his stock, it has declined significantly since 2093, and I'm gonna prove that with the numbers because numbers don't lie, and I have the numbers because you're gonna be shocked with some of the data I have to show you. Because the truth is, Yeat low-key has been seeing decline lately. I know his last album, Lifestyle, went number one, but that's not really the full story because the first of all, it's not even on the charts anymore. So that's not a good look. And second off, people are just not talking about him as much, right? That's just the truth of it. Ever since 2093, that's where he peaked at, in my opinion. It's just been decline, right? And we're gonna talk about it because the truth is he is nowhere near as popular as he was a year ago. People are gonna say he's selling out show, he's selling great. Honestly, I'm not talking about that. I don't give a fuck if you're selling out shows. I don't really give a fuck because I'm not going to your shows, right? What I'm talking about is streams, data, sales, charting position. That's what I care about, and that's what I'm going to talk about. Because let's talk about it. Ever since he dropped 2093, it has not been the same. 2093 was a polarizing album. A lot of people were conflicted. They said, hey, this album isn't that great. Ye has done so much better before. There's a lot of hype for it because before he dropped 2093, he was coming off a Drake song, his most popular song currently being streamed. He was riding the wave off that song. Going into 2093, great rollout. Yes, he had a good rollout. Surprisingly, a lot of rappers don't really have good rollouts these days, but 2093 had a great rollout. Came out, boom, dropped it, sold about 70K, debuted at number 2 in the Hot 200, right? But again, conflicting. A lot of people were like, hey, this album really isn't that great. It's good. Some people were like, Fantano was glazing the fuck out of it because Fantano just likes to be different than everyone else. Glazing it, giving it an 8 out of 10, whatever. I didn't like the album, but no surprise here. But the overall reception, overall quality, commercial success of it, it did alright. Alright. And I'm not gonna sit here and be like it did horrible, whatever. It did pretty decent, right? It was highest charting album at that point in time, right? We're gonna talk about Lifestyle in a second here. But overall, had some decent like popular songs on there. He had Breathe on there. Some couple hits on there, so good for him, right? And then he drops another album within the same year. In my opinion, that was a huge mistake because the rollout for this album is nowhere near as good as 2093. What hype was he going into there? Practically nothing. The hype was pretty much non-existent. There was no hype for Lifestyle, all right? And we're going to prove that with the numbers because sure, it went number 1. It sold more than 2093 and went number 1 like on paper. If we really dig deep into the details and the numbers or meticulously, we're going to know that it really performed worse actually than 2093. Lifestyle debuted at number 1. He dropped the album. He put a lot of effort onto the album cover, and I looked at it and I'm like, if only he put as much effort onto the album cover, onto the actual quality of the music, then it would have been good. Because I'm going to tell you this album was trash. It was awful. I listened to it. I saved like one song, right? Did not like the album at all. Some of those people did not belong in those songs. I think Kodak was on the album. Didn't know what the fuck he was doing on that beat. And some of these other guys didn't know what they were doing on the beat. I don't know why they were on the album, but that's not here what I'm talking about. What I'm here to talk about is what happened with Lifestyle. Again, he drops it, went number 1, sold about 85,000 units first week. It debuted number 1 on the Billboard 200. Good for him. Great. But let's talk about the real numbers here. 25,000 units came from streams, and 60,000 units came from pure album sales, right? Yeah, they padded up. A lot of people are padding stuff up. Lil Baby did it with Wham recently. Kanye did it. Destroy Lonely did it. But Yeat did it. He did it to get that number 1 album. I applaud you because, saying that you went number 1 is great for the headline. It's great for the title. It's good for the news outlets. I understand that, but it didn't really do that well over time. It actually flopped colossally, in my opinion. So it sold about 25,000 units off streams alone, and then 60,000 pure sales. The pure sales came from bundle deals and whatever, the things that the label's trying to do to pad the numbers up because they're like, hey, this album's not performing well, so let's get people to buy it. So what they did was advertise like a deluxe, a volume 2. They're like, hey, if you buy this, we'll give you more songs, whatever. We're going to say it's a deluxe, whatever, and then fans could buy it so we can boost sales. That's how he went number 1. This is like a significant decline in terms of streams and numbers. From the last album, it was about like a 50 to 60% decline from the previous album to the new one. So that's not a great look. No, not enough people talked about it when it happened, but that's what happened. And he broke records, by the way. It was the fastest number 1 rap album to fall out of the charts. In 3 weeks, it stayed on #1 on the Hot 200 for 1 week, right? And it just started falling, and then it just fell the fuck off out of the charts, out of the top 200 completely in 3 weeks. That's the headline that we should be talking about. Because how are you going from #1 to out of the 200 within 3 weeks? 3 weeks. People are like, oh, but it's an accomplishment. It's not an accomplishment, man. It's not. It's not. When you're padding and faking stats out here, how is that an accomplishment? I'm so proud of myself for just getting my fans to buy my deluxe so I can go #1 for just 1 week and then just fall out of the fucking charts. And if you're going to be like, oh, but it's really hard to stay in the 200. Ken Carson's album, A Great Chaos, is literally still on the Hot 200. There it is. It's still there, and it dropped over a year ago. Lifestyle dropped literally like months ago, and it's out of the charts. I wonder why. Probably because it wasn't great. All right, I'm gonna tell you this: albums that tend to stay on the charts tend to be good, right? A Great Chaos was a solid project. I know that because all his popular songs on Spotify for Ken Carson are all from A Great Chaos. That's how you know you dropped a great album. There's like one song from Lifestyle or none. I'll pop it up on screen. There's like nothing from Lifestyle. Why? Because it wasn't a good album. Bad rollout, that doesn't help you. And not a good album. Again, that doesn't help you. Went #1 for what? A week? Just to fall out of the whole fucking charts within 3 weeks? That's the headline we should be talking about. Because no one talks about Yeat anymore. Because no one gives a fuck about him anymore. Because he's not dropping good music. He's not. And when people talk about him, people were just saying, he sounds the same on every song. And he kind of does. It's the same 808s. We're tired of it. It's tired of the bells and everything. It's just like, why are we doing this? He put more effort into the album cover of Lifestyle than the actual music. That's embarrassing, right? If you put a little more effort, you probably would still be on the charts, dude. Because the reality is, first week sales matter, but it matters what you're doing over time, right? Look at Lil Baby, My Turn. That album is still on the charts. It dropped like 4 years ago. Almost 5. It's slowly approaching 5 years, and it's still on the charts. That's longevity. And it sold good first week. If you can sell first week and keep selling consistently throughout the years, good for you. You dropped a great album. But when you can't do that, I don't know what to say. Like, Ken Carson sold like 60K first week with A Great Chaos. 50,000, I think. Actually, not 60,000. He sold 50,000 first week. And guess what? He's still on the charts. Would you rather want a #1 album that stays on the charts for 3 weeks? Or would you want an album that debuts like the top 20 and it stays on the Hot 200 for more than a year? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I would rather be Ken Carson because it's telling me my music has longevity. It's more timeless than Yeat's music, which is more watered down music in my opinion. He's putting less effort as to Ken Carson. Can't believe I'm comparing the two, but I'm just saying this right now. Ken Carson's album is going to outsell Yeat's next album. I just think that's a fact. I think that's locked. Considering how Ken Carson growth has been over the years, it's gonna outsell Yeat's last album. It's gonna outsell Yeat's newest album. It doesn't matter. He's just better than him at this point. And I just want people to realize that Yeat is already kind of falling off, in my opinion. Right? Cool, you're selling out tours, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't really give a shit. Anyone really can. A lot of rappers do who even fall off. They still sell. Good for them. Awesome. Cool. As long as you're not being in the mirror and performing in front of 3 people, you'll be fine. Like, I don't care about how much tickets you're selling. I don't care about sold out tour dates. I do not care. I care about your album sales. I care about your charting history. I care about how long are you on the charts. Your album quality. I care about that. I don't really care how much money these guys are making. I don't give a shit, right? What I care about is, do people care about you anymore? Are people still tuning in for you? Because let's talk about it. It's less effort to listen to someone's new album than it is to go to someone's concert. So if they're not even willing to go to your new album, why would they go to your concert? Like, less people can go to your concert then more people can listen to your album, right? So that's why I like to gauge who is listening to someone's album or not, right? I don't care if you're a big artist, whatever. If you drop something new and then like no one listens to it, then what's the freaking point? What's the point of you even dropping music, right? Besides being signed to a contract, because you don't give a fuck. You're doing it for the money. You don't care about the fans. That's just the reality of it, right? No one's tuning in because you suck. And in my opinion, Yeat's last album was trash. I'm not tuning into his next album. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that again because Lifestyle put me to sleep because it was the same thing over and over and over and over again. And it's just like, I don't want to hear the same shit over and over again, right? I don't. Yeat makes music for people in their 20s. By the time I'm 30, I'm not listening to that anymore, alright? That's just the truth of it. That's okay. I just want people to know that he fucking flopped. His last album flopped. No one cares about him anymore. We just don't care. We moved on. I think he's teasing a new album. It's like no one's talking about him. When I go through my Twitter, no one's talking about Yeat anymore. That's just the truth of it. No one cares about Yeat anymore. No one cares. And I don't care. And I'm sure you don't care either. Because his music sucks.